We are live. All right. Matt, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We're going to get started here in a minute. We're just going to see if we can't get a few more people show up, and then we're going to start. And while we're waiting, hey, guys, if you're first time you've ever been in here, do me a favor. Comment down below so I know who you are and where you're from. And even if you've been in here before, do me a favor and just drop a comment so I'll know who all is in here so I can say hello. But let's get some things out done first before we get started. And I want to give a special shout out to Salt Creek Custom Ammunition, True Lock Choke Tubes, and Biscuit Built 3D. They are the sponsors of In the Blind with Daddy Duck. So huge shout out. If y'all have not ever tried any of their products, go ahead. Keith over at Salt Creek does a wonderful job making custom loads, TSS, bismuth, steel, waterfowl loads, turkey loads, coyote loads, whatever you want. You want something customized, give Keith a call. True Lock Choke Tubes. I've been shooting them for a little over a year now, and I have absolutely fallen in love with them. They're all on my sub gauges, my 16 gauge, my 20, my 28, and of course my little 410. Hey, Bentley, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you in here. Also with Biscuit Built 3D, Robbie Jones makes one excellent tree strap. It is by far my favorite tree strap. I've shown it on some of my videos, and I plan on showing a lot more here coming up soon. He also makes a DIY kit for decoys, so you can get some little extra motion. Andrew, what's going on? Yes, I will be going out for early teal season. I'll be heading out to Louisiana here in just a couple of weeks. But anyway, guys, let's get started. I got a special guest tonight. I got Matt Sewell. Sewell.
Flatty.
And let me tell y'all something. I met him a couple weeks ago on another live stream I was doing with Wes Looney, and then we got to talking on the phone. Find out he is a decoy carver as well. What's really cool is I'm Matt, he's Matt, so this is really going to be confusing at some times, but we're going to have a good time tonight. RD Reynolds, what's going on? Tell Noah I said hello. But what I really like about Matt is he is a fellow crayon eater as well. He's in the United States Marine Corps up in North Carolina. And I think we just kind of hit it off real well when we were talking on the phone. Listen, if you got any questions, just refer to me as DD tonight. And if you got a question for Matt, just type out the name Matt. Grant McIntosh, what's going on? All right, Matt, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, introduce yourself, introduce your company, and what you do.
Hi, I'm Matt Sewell, and I'm with Mills Creek Decoy Company. I'm a decoy carver. I do canvas, cork, and wood birds, as well as antique and distress style shore birds. And I just love everything about the waterfowl and hunting community.
Awesome. And to do us a favor and just kind of take us back to the beginning, where you carved your first bird at. What was it? If you remember about that far, how long you been carving, that kind of thing.
I've been carving since 8 January 2022. I met Pat Green out in Duck, North Carolina. Seemed like a fitting place to carve my first bird. And he did canvas style birds. And I grew up in the Midwest, Oklahoma, that beautiful Central Flyway, where we didn't see canvas birds. Like if we did see them, it would be like in a book or a magazine or on a TV show, but they weren't really common, and it just absolutely intrigued me. And for starting out, it was probably the perfect bird because it requires the most minimal amount of tools.
And which one was that again?
It was a canvas pintail.
A canvas pintail. Wow. Well, like you said, you start off in Duck, North Carolina, which I've been there. It's a cool little village. It really is a lot of history up in that area. But then you went up to New Haven. Am I correct on that? Up in Connecticut?
Absolutely. Got transferred to New Haven, Connecticut.
Okay. Who'd you work with up there?
Was stationed in the Marines up there, but as soon as I got up there, I was really hardcore fired up about decoy carving and posting the decoy carving forum on Facebook. Hey, is anybody in the area be willing to take a minute to teach a new guy? And that's when Dr. John Ketchum, he's the Eider King. He let me come over to his house, opened up his house. Him and his wife are just absolutely amazing. And we carved a cork eider together. And that was the first time I cut myself. And there's a group of us, and it's kind of the ongoing joke is give Matt a hatchet and a knife, and he'll be happy as can be. But put a power tool in his hand, he'll leave enough blood to become family at your house. And it was just an awesome experience going up there with John, carving my first cork bird. It was fascinating to see that style of New England. And then being in Connecticut, you have like the old Saybrook style, the Cromwell up in Massachusetts. There's just so much history. You got world champion Keith Mueller. He lives in Connecticut still. Just so many just great carvers up in that area and going back into our history.
Right. And, I've always said that waterfowling in the United States, the decoys, the calls, the dogs, actually, it's truly 100% American folk art. No other country. They'll use dogs. In the British, they started with the labs, but they were, the way we use them here. But the decoys, are truly, and the calling is truly an American art form. It's unbelievable. And the history that goes back behind it. I'm 100% on you. Now you got a story, at least I think you got a story on this. And I've heard of this guy, but I've never had a chance to meet him. Ryan Duckboy Tobert.
Ryan Torbert. Yeah, man. I could talk for 5 hours about my bromance with Ryan Torbert. He was just like John. I met him at a Ducks Unlimited banquet up in Connecticut, and I'm sitting there watching him just take this hatchet and just carving out these beautiful birds. And we started talking, and he had a bluebill in a funky pose with its head down preening. And I'm like, dude, I got to leave with that bird.
Yeah.
And I finally talked him into it. I think I guilted him a little bit into let me take this bird because he always reminds me about it.
Yeah.
And I went over to his house, and we just started carving. And he moved on back down south to the Chincoteague area. And I would be, before he left, every chance I could get, I was over there carving with him, trying to learn, trying not to be that crazy student. It took a lot to wrangle me in, but he managed to do a pretty great job at it. And I owe so much to Ryan Torbett for just like taking me under his wing, trying to teach me what right looked like, put me in the right direction so that way I could become what I am today.
Like I said, I've never had the opportunity to meet him. But his name, just when you talk about, there's a lot of, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of guys out there, and we'll get into some more of them. But when somebody tells me about him, it is just like, ooh, I want to know more, because he's an icon, whether he thinks it or not, or whatever. And there's a lot more other guys that are the same way, but he is just one of those guys. I've heard the story of him using a hatchet before and just carving out a decoy. And I'm like, what? I need a belt sander. There's, there's no way I could do that. What he does with a hatchet. I mean, I can't do it. Now, kind of getting back to Chincoteague, and trust me, it took me about 6 years to try to figure out how to pronounce it. But you're heavily influenced. I've seen some of on your Facebook page, which is Mills Mills Creek decoys, and I'm looking through some of your carvings and stuff that you have that you're on your Facebook page, and there's a heavy influence from the Chincoteague area and the Core Sound rather area. Would you say that you're more heavily influenced by that style? Because there's different styles all over.
Oh yeah. I would say I'm heaviest influenced by the Chincoteague style of bird. They call them gunners or stools or blocks. And after the Migratory Bird Act of 1918, all those watermen, they had to come up with a way to make a living. And the beauty of the Chincoteague birds is there's absolutely amazing works of art. Cigar is probably the best one ever to come out of Chincoteague, but they're working functional tools as well as something somebody can put on a mantelpiece. And I try to humble myself enough to replicate all those great carvers, watermen, and Americans that came before us.
Well, and you mentioned some names, and I'm just going to go through some more. I mean, these guys are legends in what they're doing, and y'all have to forgive me because I do have it written down, and I got to read them because I'll never ever remember them all. But guys like Ira Hudson, Doug Jester, both the daddy and the son, senior and junior. You mentioned Cigar Daisey. That guy. One of another guys is Roe Duckman Terry. When I was putting all this together and talking to you and whatnot, I literally forgot, and I got to tell everybody. He reminded me that this afternoon. Don't forget Terry. Oh man, I'm sorry. So I had to go back and do that. But and of course we've already mentioned Ryan Torbett. These guys, these are some legends, man. And have you worked with all of them? Have you had the chance to meet them and work with them at all?
Road Terry. I go over to his house. I call it going to church. It's my decoy carving mecca.
Right.
Whenever I walk into his shop and he has hundreds of his birds that he's created, I want to say it's about 6 of every species. Every time I go in, I'm just in awe of the work that he's able to still produce. At one time, he quit his job working for NOAA and started carving and made in 10 years 10,000 pieces.
Wow.
And in my opinion, he's the last of the outlaw gunners. He is the last of the Mohicans that made it and did it for a living. He didn't have like a trust fund or some like CEO wife where he could just go off and do his hobby. He did it to provide for his family and just created so much works of art. But it's kind of cool in the carving community because Ryan taught me, who was taught by Roe. Roe was heavily influenced by Cigar Daisey and Doug Jester Jr. Like if you watch his video on the Chincoteague Museum, when he was a kid, he goes and grabs Doug Jester Jr. by the hand and goes, "This is Doug. Can I keep him?" And it's just cool to be able to trace that legacy all the way back to like those great watermen in the Chincoteague area.
And they are, prior to us coming on here, I was telling you about Tom Reed, an old market gunner, and I actually showed a picture, which I'm going to do right now. I'm going to show this picture to the chat, and while I'm doing that, hit the wrong button. While I'm doing that, is there anybody in the chat room that's ever carved their own decoys or made their own decoys? If you have, do me a favor and shout it out. I got to find these pictures. Where are they at? Hey, Jeff, how you doing? But this is Tom Reed. I showed you this picture earlier. This is Tom Reed right there. And this is an old goose decoy. Some type of wood, I'm assuming. And, of course, it's got a removable bottom plate where they would, these guys, I mean, they were market hunters, and they would stuff ducks and stuff up under those decoys to get away, trying to beat the game warden, I guess. Mark J. Larson, what's going on? But if any of y'all have ever done your own decoys, made your own, give us a shout out. I'd like to hear from you about that. But I want to see some of your work, some of the things that you've done here recently, or all
right. So recently, this is common scoter. This one I made out of cork. I don't know if you can hear it but it's a hollowed cork with a basswood bottom board to help keep it stable. As well as protect it. A black duck I made this one out of cottonwood with the cedar head.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I love cottonwood. It is my favorite wood. It's an awesome tree because it's one of the fastest growing trees in the country, and it's a soft wood. It has water instead of sap inside of it. But the great part of it is it self-rejuvenates. So I can cut a tree down, and whenever the tree starts growing back up, in 5 to 10 years, I've got buffleheads, ringers, shorebirds. 10 to 20 years, I'm looking at scaup, redhead, scoters. Then 20, 25 years, I can make anything from a mallard to a goose. Then 25 to 30 years, I'm making swans with it.
Right. Wow. Now, you said something earlier. I caught it. I don't know if the chat room caught it, but what we call decoys, your regular just duck decoys, you're referring to them as blocks or gunners, and you continue to refer back to those names. Why is that so important to keep the old usage for you? I know what it means. A lot of guys in here would, but you seem to keep it. What's making it? Is it just the history of what is it all about?
A lot of it is just, some of it's baseball talk, just being in and around the community, but a lot of it is just the heritage of how those gentlemen made their living. They would gun over the birds, which means they would hunt over them. And it's just a part of our legacy of the community that it's going to keep going on as long as I'm here.
Right. And I think it should, because we've lost a lot of our heritage. A lot of the young kids, the younger hunters nowadays, refer to them as decoys. When I hunt over cork, which I do have some behind me, some cork and some wooden stuff behind me, they've always been called blocks or a gunner. I don't know if you can see behind me, but I've got two. Now there's two of them. There's a ring neck and a pintail, which I got from a Delta banquet. But right in the center, right there, you can barely. Let me get it. This is a little bufflehead, and it was made out of Virginia Beach, and I want to say a Hallbrook decoy. I was actually gifted this from his son. Of course, he has a different last name. So I can't barely read it down here, but this is a block, or this is a gunner. And you can actually see where right there where some shot had hit it. So this was an actual used. I mean, this decoy was used. This block, this gunner was used, and and I've got a few others behind me and whatnot that I've collected over the years. But I'm like you. I want to. We need to keep this heritage, this old heritage still alive. Using cork, going back to using cork. I know they're heavier. The wooden stuff and the corks are all heavy, but the big one is the canvas over wire. That has been intriguing me here, especially when I finally was able to meet with Wes Looney, and then he told me that you do the same thing. Do you have any handy that you can show?
I do. I got a couple, and the story, I call it my Ward's 12. There's the World Ward Championship every year. It's going to be the 24th through the 26th of April this year, as well as the Chincoteague Challenge, the Chesapeake Challenge coming up on the 27th of September in Crisfield, Maryland. But at the World Championship, I wanted to chop right next to Ryan. He goes, "Matt, we're doing the same style of bird." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I really want to." He's like, what about canvas? And I'm like, "Oh, that'd be fun." And a lot of people have never seen it or don't really see much of it. So I do canvas every year at Worlds. I pick a species and make a dozen of them. 2 years ago was my first year doing Worlds. Did Brant. And I was painting with Jasonia paints. It has a half pine base, and it's for a canvas bird. It's a little heavy, but it's really cool because for the weight at the bottom, it allows this bird, whenever I throw it in the water, to self-run without any additional weight to it. And then the following year, I did a dozen common scoter. And these are going to get gunned over this year in the Pamlico Sound and the Core Sound in that area. So it's going to be cool to bring full circle this style of bird and where it came from and bring it right on back to where it belongs. In the
right. Well, while we're talking about old styles, because these are not old decoys by no means, but they're the old styles. Have you ever taken those out and hunted over them and using vintage shotguns or clothing or any of that kind of thing? Do you do that as well?
Oh yeah, I go full regalia with it.
Oh, do you?
I've got my wax cottons. I got those on top. I've got my doubles out there whenever I'm hunting the creeks, but I just can't get myself to take one of my doubles out into the salt.
Yeah.
I haven't gone that full with it yet, but I'm like, they're too pretty to just take into the salt. So
yeah.
When I hunt freshwater creeks, that's whenever I bring the doubles out.
I have a Browning double. I wouldn't say it's anything special because it's not. But I do have a Browning Belgium 16, and I'm not taking it in the salt. I also have one of the newer Brownings, the Wicked Wings version, and I'd probably take that into the salt, or a Browning Silver because it's kind of beat up, or my Benelli. But I'm like, I'd have a hard time taking my Belgium out there. It would just, I'd just be nervous. I'd just be too nervous. Want to say hello to NC Outdoors 828. What's going on, brother? Glad you can make it. And a Ricky Manley, who says he shoots a double barrel sometimes. He's a dead eye. Well, he's a United States Marine. I mean, come on, dude. We're all dead eyes. And he takes his POS SPE3 to the assault. Anyway, welcome to the channel, man. For any of you guys that are new to this channel, I do this on Monday nights, not every, but on Monday nights. I do an In the Blind series. I usually try to get somebody in here with me, or it's just me in here talking. It's kind of like, what do you talk about when you're in the blind? That's basically what this live stream is about. But hit that thumbs up for me and leave a comment. I surely would appreciate it. And if you want to see ducks being killed, you might as well. I live in South Carolina, so you're not going to see that. You'll see wood ducks, but that's about it. But anyway, so I was. There's some guys up in the upstate of South Carolina that make old style duck calls. They're called oak and barrel, and they are of the cotton wax variety of hunters. They still these are young guys compared to me. I mean, heck, compared to me, you're a young guy. But these, they're wearing the old wax coats and they're shooting the old guns and they're making these very vintage looking duck calls. That's pretty cool, man. I like that. That's it's bringing back keeping that heritage alive. You don't really need camo. All you need is something solid color and solid brown, and you're good to go. So, what are some other things that you use vintage styled besides decoys, guns, and clothing? Is there anything else that you boats or pirogues or anything like that you might use?
I've got a Beavertail 1200 or 2000, excuse me, that I use. I absolutely love that boat. I bought it secondhand. I want to call like 2000 vintage yet, even though it technically is.
Right.
But I try to do most in the old ways that I can, just to preserve that heritage. We've got to keep it alive just for the younger generation, which I've seen a lot of the younger guys wanting to go back to it. And I got asked a question the other day, why make birds? And I go, all right, you tell me about those avian X's. I went to the store and I bought them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I stayed up all night frustrated because I couldn't make a straight line, chipping and carving, cutting, drawing a pattern, doing X, Y, and Z. And for me, that bird has a soul. It's part of me. It may be ugly, it may be, it's like kids. It may be ugly. It may not be correct, but hey, he's mine.
All right. So Jeff Barris, good friend of mine out of Nebraska, asked, do you use the Jones style hat, or?
I can't find one that fits me. I've got a big head. I'm rocking a 7/3/8. I wear the hats that I met these guys when I was guiding. They got a company out of Virginia, and they do custom patches on Richardson hats. And they were a couple clients that it was refreshing. They could actually shoot well. We went and got the 410s out and had a great old time.
Oh, wow. Wow.
You're dusting pheasants over my short hair.
They, so are you still guiding or?
I just got hired on this year after I transferred. Last year I was at Markover Hunting Preserve in Connecticut, and it was just an awesome experience. I loved everything about it. I loved the relationship, the meeting the new people, getting paid to work my dog was awesome also. So I came down south and met up with the guys at George High, and I'm going to be working for them this year, guiding quail.
Okay. And Jeff saying Dixie Decoys makes a great Jones style hat.
It's Oh,
Let's see here. You just mentioned birds, and we're talking quail. You say bird hunting, we're talking quail.
yes, sir.
And do you have a bird dog?
I do. I have 2 bird dogs. I got an English cocker and a German short-haired pointer.
Okay.
If you look over my right shoulder, 2 of the decoy buds made things for me. Joe LaRose made the painting of my German short hair, and Steve Little, the wood burning and the depth that he got with the wood pin is absolutely amazing on that piece of wood behind me. I don't know how he brought that depth out on an all black German short hair, but he somehow did.
Oh, wow. And where are you going to be guiding at? You said you just got hired on. Where are you going to be guiding at this year?
George High Plantation in North Carolina.
Okay. That's well, I know it's on the East Coast. I'm trying to remember exactly where, but
About near Fayetteville.
okay. All right. Gotcha. What there was another oh yeah. Now you mentioned earlier, I believe it was called the Ward Foundation.
Yes, sir.
And the Core Sound Decoy Carvers Guild, and Decoy Bros, right? Aren't you affiliated with them as well?
Yes.
Yeah. And what, for those that may be interested into start carving their own stuff, what is these organizations, what have they done for you to help you shape your style of carving and help you fulfill some of your dreams or ambitions when it comes to carving decoys?
I just joined Core Sound, and I met Walter Brother Gaskill. He did a coot for me. I want to say I have the largest coot collection in all of America for handmade birds. I just love them. And I met him. He took me to the museum, and Core Sound took me around, showed me all the birds, and we talked. I went over to his shop, carved a little bit, and every Thursday they meet up. They have a show the first weekend in December. I want to say it's the 6th or the 7th, Core Sound. I'm seeing if they have any openings. I'll do some chopping and sell some of my birds there.
Right.
The Ward Foundation, I love the Worlds. For me, it's like a family reunion now. The competition and the artwork that you see there for like the decorative guys to like the shorebird, the game birds, like all sorts of these birds. I was looking at a rough grouse last year. Like if someone just posted that up in a tree, I would pop it and not even blink. It was that detailed and that good. And just how they preserved the foundation, because the Wards was 2 brothers, Lem and Steve Ward, and they were just true counterfeiters of turning wood into wild fowl. I look at their birds and it was like, yeah, one of these days I might be able to afford a down payment on one. Because
yeah,
they go.
Yeah, it's like going out and buying a brand new Chevrolet right now. Their stuff is, and rightly so. I mean, they and I've seen some of their work. And I've actually held a piece. I believe it was a canvasback. No, it was a redhead, and it was immaculate. I mean, and it was a gunner. It was a gunning decoy, and it was. I mean, it was just beautiful. The whole thing about it was just absolutely beautiful. But I'm gonna ask the chat room, and this question: has anybody ever been to the Worlds or to Havre de Grace? Has anybody ever had a chance to get up that way and look around and go to the museums and stuff up there? So if you have, drop a comment down below. Now you're not too far. I'm trying to remember where it's at now. It's in the Outer Banks near, Currituck.
Oh, Currituck Sound, Hatteras Mountain Mesquite, that area?
that area, and there's a little museum up there. God, what was the name of that little place? It's this small little place. I think they've actually moved it into a bigger building here. I say recently, with maybe 5 or 10 years, but I'm trying to remember the name of it. But it is if y'all really want to see some East Coast waterfowling memorabilia and vintage and history, y'all need to go. And even up, not just in North Carolina, but up in Virginia, South Carolina, Georgetown area has some good museums. And just hit these places, make it a vacation, because this history is us. And it, like you said earlier, tell me the history of Avian X. You know, I've got 9 dozen heydays in my shed right now. What's the history of those other than they look like Crocs? But this stuff right here, there's your history. That's your history right there. Corolla, that's it. Zachary Doxey, he said it next to the Whalehead Club, and they now have the Maritime Museum in Corolla. Thank you. That's exactly the one I was thinking about. Zachary, thanks so much, and welcome to the program. Now, I know this may be a sore subject, as we were talking earlier today and even yesterday, and I hope you have some or one close to you, but you make a lot of shorebirds. But hey, this is September, so do you have any of your doves available?
Yeah, got a couple.
You got to see these doves.
I used these about, I don't know, 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
My Jersey style gunners. They're just, I had a little more depth and a little more detail than a pure flatty. So it adds like depth to the bird, but they're also just super, super light as can be. And I know I'm super hard on my birds, so I took out the wood beak that I usually do and inserted a nail. But with these birds, I can sit there and not have to worry about them getting messed up whatsoever. Because I know
a lot of guys who dove hunt. I'm actually one of them. I put out decoys, and of course I have the clip-on plastics because it's what I got. But when we started talking, and I started getting on your Facebook page, and I started looking into the things that you do, and you do a lot of shorebirds as well, which I'd love for you if you got something handy to show some of the guys. Guys, they used to market hunt, these little sandpipers and stuff, and they would actually make decoys for them. And that's just awesome, dude. I'm that is just crazy.
This cute little peep.
I've
got to give full credit to Road Duck Man Terry. It's kind of like he calls those his duck kids, and he doesn't mind us making those. He gets a huge kick out of it. I let my son paint one the other day, and he made his first blackbird. I don't know how he took the white, the blue, and the bluish black combo and made it all black, but he found a way.
Blackbird. Now, did you posted something on Facebook a while back, and it was the South Carolina state bird, which is the cormorant. Was that the bird? Did you do that bird, or was that somebody else who did that?
The canvas one?
Yeah, the canvas one.
I did that. I did that one.
Okay, I couldn't.
Oh, where's he at? There he is.
Now you won some stuff off of that one, didn't you?
Yeah, you did. It won a couple things. Best in category, third best in show for the gunner division. But for me, honestly, I use the shows as kind of like a checkup. and a critique, I'll go talk to those masters and be like, the good, the bad, the ugly, give it to me. And sometimes they'll be like, well, you did this really great. Just keep at it. And I'm like, bud, I'm hooked. I've done almost 300 birds in 3 years.
Yeah.
Feed me. I want to get better. I want to do better. And that's the great part about the decoy carving community. Like, if you go up there and you're sitting there, you're new, and you ask someone, hey, what's the spot that I can go to kill ducks? If they're nice, they're going to tell you, hey, kid, get out there and scout. That's right. If they're being nice. But the great part about the carving community is I can get on the phone or on Facebook with all these world champions, great carvers, the decoy bros. I rely heavily on them. And I'll ask them, hey, good, the bad, the ugly, break it down for me. And we'll talk about it. The funniest part about like the different styles of decoys is like you have your gunners that are meant to be used in the water. Then you have like your semi-decoratives and your fully decoratives. And my buddy Jim, he's part of the decoy bros. And I was just sitting there, I'm like, wonder what would happen if I sent a canvas bird to a decorative carver. Good Lord. The cormorant he made, I was wanting to go down to the creek and grab some mold to toss at this thing. It was the most beautiful cormorant I've ever seen in my life.
Well, yeah, I saw that, and I got really tickled when I was looking at your Facebook page and saw the cormorant, and I was like, man, I can't believe the man carved our state bird. I mean, really, it was. I was like, man, I need one of those, whether I hunt over it or not. It's like I need to talk to you later, and I need to figure out a way to get one, because that I would take it out. I would take and put it in the water. I mean, just to have people go, is that what I think? Yeah, that's what you think it is. But but getting to that cormorant, you've won some serious awards, haven't you? Over the years at like Havre de Grace and Wisconsin. I think you won second best in show at Havre de Grace, best in show in Connecticut, best in category, best in species in Wisconsin. You're not slacking when it comes to winning stuff. How does that all bring this all home to you? You kind of mentioned a little bit of it, but you know, can you go in a little bit more detail about how all this kind of helps you out?
The first show, I'm not gonna lie, it was, man, I want to go, I'm gonna win, I want to get a ribbon to put on my bird. But then I started meeting people in the community, and it's like, oh, hot dog, hey, Tom, Dick, Larry, are you going to the Chesapeake Challenge? Yeah, man, I'm gonna be there. I'm like, oh, hot dog, let's go get some crabs and have a good old time. And then in a softer setting than being like on the judging floor, I'd be like, hey, Tom, really, what did you see about my cormorant that you liked? Oh, well, you know, Matt, it looked great. I would just take your head position and change it about 15 degrees where it's feeding with its head up. But other than that, I think you're on the right track. And it's just something easier to do like that. And that way we can sit there and talk and have a good time, eat some crabs, and just enjoy each other's company and hear some stories.
I'm trying to type in here. Yes. Sorry about that. There was a question in the chat room about one of our buddies, and I just wanted to get that out. Well, I guess this is your buddy, Ricky Manley. He says, what about the pieces you do for Ducks Unlimited?
Ducks Unlimited's always going to have a spot in my heart. I mean, them and Delta are there for conservation. And I wish I could give every single Ducks Unlimited chapter a duck, but I would go broke. So I heavily discount birds that I give to DU and Delta, so that way they can be put in place to help with their mission. I'm just making a little bit back for wood and supply my short hair with nuggets, because he's got to have his pre-hunt nuggets. Yeah.
I've I got this, like I said, I got this ring neck there, and the pintail, the last ones they came out with. From Delta is usually where I get mine from. Unfortunately, our DU around here, and I'm probably going to upset a bunch of people, and that's okay. That's just what I do. To me, it's just turned into a big drunk fest, and I just had to walk away. I just can't be around that. I can't be around that. It just aggravates me. But there was it's September, so you made a blue wing teal back, I believe you said it was in 2023, and you just got around to painting this thing. There it is. I'm in love with that little decoy. I love it. Hey, Boosh. That is a perfect piece, man, for this time of year. I know that he's plumed out, and all the other little teal are going to look at him like, "What are you doing here?" But that is, it is what it is. But what other pieces do you have handy that I would say you're most proud of? That just you're just like, this is the one.
I don't know. I'll show a progression one really quick.
Okay.
Come here, Coots. So the first year, this is the first year I went to Worlds, and I made this cute decoy. Right now, looking at it, the neck is way too stiff. The beak and the head slope's not terrible, but there's just no detail into the bird. It offers really no depth. I think I painted carbon black Jassonia over the whole bird, and there's just so much more to Coots than that.
Yeah, because they actually have some coloring to them. Little purples. Some of them I've had got a little purple sheen to them.
Here's the bird from the following year. Getting a little better. You're seeing the color change, the depth, the detail going into the body. Added a little texture modeling paste to help reduce the shine. Looking at this bird, what I did wrong is looking at you, looks absolutely fantastic. The head slope is where I messed up on this one big time.
Right.
It just needs to be brought out a little bit further. This is the bird that made me go 0 for 2 in the Great Coot Wars. And then this one was last year. Added a little more detail. Added in a little bit of side pockets, depth,
right,
and texturing into the bird. Head slope still a little shallow, but we're getting there. But with this head style, it's not completely off where he's back there preening. He's kind of extended out like that. But it keeps getting better. I think I'm going to make another coot this year. It's going to keep being my thing where I make a coot every year. My decoy bros they had to put a quota on me because I was just in there ripping out coots. And they're like, Matt, 2 birds a year, 2 coots a year. Come on. One for Worlds and then one for the J. Tansey Memorial Hunt.
Right. Now, all of these that are behind you, do you have more like in your shop that you hunt over, or this is it?
These are my pretty birds, as I like to call them.
Right.
I'll take some of them out once, maybe a year, but it's right behind me. If you go up is all rotary shorebirds, and the one right directly behind me is all rotary birds, and it starts my coot collection. And then this drawer is all my Ryan Torbert birds that I got from him over the years. Okay. I think he dates me though sometimes, because me and him were having a discussion on the phone, and I'm like, man, I want a laughing gull. That would be so cool. I get into his shop. I sit down, he hands me a head. I just start carving. I look over and I'm like, that's entrapment. Starts laughing, and I just start handing him money. But we had a great laugh about it. I got his first ever made blackhead gull or laughing gull.
I'm into a lot of vintage memorabilia when it comes to duck hunting, duck calls, decoys. I got a whole stack behind me that I've hunted over all of them. But I was in Florida a couple years ago, and there's another YouTuber there, and he's a fishing guide, but his dad was a carver, or his dad or stepdad. Can't remember which one. He's the one that did this, and he did a black duck that I got over here. But they came across an old cork decoy with a wooden head, and inside the head was a duck call. And on the bottom of the decoy was a brass nipple that you would put a hose on, set the decoy out, pull the hose back to your blind, and you could use a billow, and actually like, a fireplace billow, and make it quack. Huh. And to prove the point, he didn't have the hose or the billow, but to prove the point, I flipped this decoy over, not even thinking of anything that was on there that could probably kill me, because it's been in his shop for years. I blew a hail call, a quack, and a chuckle on that thing. It was it's in some of my shorts. If you dig deep enough into my YouTube channel, you'll find it, or my TikTok channel. I got it pinned. Y'all can go and see that there. But that to me was the most unusual decoy that I've ever run across. And I did my best to come home with that decoy. And he would not give it up. He would not give it up. But I did my dangest to come away with that. And I don't know who the maker is. There was no markings on this decoy whatsoever. None. Could not find the first one.
I've never even heard of that. That's not a bad idea. I've just never heard of it.
That's why I'm telling you. if you ever, but it had a duck call built in the head. Now, what kind of duck call it was, I don't know. But if you take just using this as an example, but the hole was drilled right in the top of the head, and a mallard duck call was inside, and on the bottom was a nipple. So that had to have a brass, I'm assuming some kind of brass tubing that ran from the head or from the call to the bottom, and a nipple was inserted. And it's in there. It's not something that's going to fall out. I mean, it's in there. But that was like I said, that was the most unusual decoy I have ever run across. I've never seen one before. If I don't know if you can see them, they're behind that decoy right there. But I got a stack of 1940, 1950s Field and Streams and Outdoor Life's magazines, and I went through every one of them to see if there was an advertisement for it, and I could not find one. So I don't know who makes it. I don't know where it was made or who made it.
That's cool, actually. Never heard of that.
So, and speaking of which, what's the most unusual decoy that you have run across, or let's say you created or came up with?
Probably that canvas cormorant.
Yeah.
That was one that I typed into Google, and I couldn't find I think I found one reference on Google, but the only other one I've able to see in person was at the Decoy Carvers Guild here in North Carolina. I'm like, oh, there's a canvas cormorant. But other than that, it's not like you can type in canvas cormorant and find 50 of them or 100 of them for sale. It's probably the most unique. Yeah, that's probably one of the more unique ones.
Okay. We got about 5 more minutes, and I do want to ask you this. If there's anybody in here that might want to get a decoy from you, how would they go about that?
I'm on Facebook, Mills Creek Decoy Company. I do a lot of business on Facebook, or if you're in the North Carolina area, just hit me up and you can come to the shop. I can mail it to you. If you're close enough, I can drive it there. Just however you want to get a hold of me, honestly. My cell phone number is 918-409-5918.
I'll put it in the I'll put the name of the company in the thing. I would have to you gotta slow down and tell me your phone number if you want it typed in here.
918 409 5918.
5918.
Yes, sir.
There we go. Guys, I'm gonna be talking to Matt quite often here shortly on the phone. But if y'all are interested in getting one of his decoys, there's the information right there. Please give him a call. Tell him you saw him here, and I'm quite sure he will get you squared away with a very nice looking decoy. Listen, it has been an awesome pleasure having you here. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, and there was some things going on. I couldn't do it right away, and you were very understanding about that. And we got a date settled, and you came in here, but it's, to me, this stuff right here, these decoys, these gunners, these blocks, this heritage is what we're needing right now in our waterfowling world. And I do want to thank you so much for coming and sharing your experiences, your knowledge, and your creations with us. Do you have any final thoughts that you want to tell the chat or ask?
It's more of I just want to say thank you to the Ward Foundation, Gina, Chrissy, the smokers, the whole team. You all do a phenomenal job. Can't wait to see you all again up at the Chesapeake Challenge. Want to thank my wife, my son, for letting me spend those long hours and loneliness chipping and carving at my birds. Also want to give a special thank you to Ryan and Road Terry. I'd still be lost spinning in circles, trying to figure out life. Pete Palumba, the decoy buds, they've helped me more than they even know, and they know what I'm talking about. We'll just leave it at that one. But yeah, I just want to thank the community. It truly does take a community to raise a child. And the decoy community has been absolutely outstanding, as well as all my valued customers that have become friends.
Awesome. That's great. Guys, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming in tonight. Appreciate the questions. I hope you learned a little something tonight. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank each and every one of y'all coming in here. Matt, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Listen, guys, y'all have a great one. Take care of yourselves. We got dove season, teal season's coming up. I'm fixing to go on a trip in a couple of weeks. Hopefully we get some teal. But anyway, guys, y'all have a great night, and we will see y'all next time on Daddy Duck 365. Y'all have a good night.
Take care.